and welcome to the BrightTeach Podcast. It's so good to be doing another episode for all of you who are listening or watching in on this. If you do not know, my name is Arnold and I am the teaching lead in our company called BrightTeach, and we do this to add value to the students' team. And the first team that every student is a part of is their family. That family unit is a team with that student. And so we make these podcasts to support that team in supporting that student to, maximize their potential and go on to do the things that they can ultimately be doing. Now, today we're going to be looking at communicating with your child, and we have with us Karen. And Karen will be telling us a little bit about her story, and we'll be talking about the struggles, the shortcomings, and the joys of being able to do communication well. So Karen, why don't you talk to us a little bit about yourself and why you're here?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I am a mum. I have 3 children, a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 9-year-old. And we are at the beginning stages of revision, getting ready for GCSEs. And I guess, but in the few years in, we're equipping the kids to be able to self-study, to be motivated, and give them all the tools that they need to succeed in their education and take ownership of what they're trying to do and succeed in life. And why am I here? Well, I've had a few interactions with BrightTeach and Arnold and a few of his tutors, and quite honestly, they've been outstanding. And somehow Arnold thinks that I'm good enough to, I've got enough wisdom here to share. So I guess I said yes because I just want to help other parents and students and carers and in their journeys.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, I think, Karen, we brought you in just so that you can make my head big.
Yeah, why not?
Talk about how amazing I am and my businesses. No, that's not true at all. We're going to move on to the first aspect, okay, of this whole podcast, which is the fun fact segment. And you've got to try and work out whether or not this fact is true or not.
Okay.
So 70% of parents say that they struggle to communicate meaningfully with their teenage children. Do you think that's true or false?
Yeah, I reckon that's true.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Straight in there.
Yeah.
Without even giving it a thought. And yes, it is true.
Yeah.
That's right. It is 70%. So what is that? Like, I guess 1 in every, it's like nearly 3 in every 4 parents are struggling to communicate meaningfully with their teenage children. 78, right? So tell me or not whether you think this is true. 78% of parents say that they struggle to get anything out of their children.
Ooh. That would be sad if it was that high. No, I don't think it's that high.
Okay, well, that one you had to think about, but the truth is, it is true again. So 78% of parents say that they feel as though they're being shut out. I was being a bit unfair from them, but they feel as though they're being shut out from their child's life. So being able to do communication well from an early age is quite important. And I was once a teenager. I don't have teenage children as of yet, but I definitely was once a teenager, and I know that it's a struggle. So if you are a student listening, I'm so sorry that I'm empathizing here with the parents. And if you're a parent that is listening, I get it. I was once in that shoe. So I know, I can imagine what you are going through. But I'd love to hear from you, Karen. What have been kind of the ups and downs with communicating with your child?
Well, it's always a journey. It's always a process. But I think it's not one that you want to give up on. So I think even on the bad days, know that a new day will come. And it's something to be cultivated. It's something to work hard on. It's something to be intentional on because the rewards are great. And what is your vision? And I think the best vision, just using the BrightTeach language, is you just want your child to succeed. And that's ultimately is. And each person will have different ways of succeeding, what it looks like. Yeah. And I think that's what we as a family are passionate about. That's what I'm passionate about for my children and even my children's friends. You want them to succeed as well. So yeah, I guess you just have to work hard at it
Wow. Yeah.
and not
I
give up.
love I love that whole idea of that's not exactly what you said, but if today is bad, that doesn't necessarily mean tomorrow will be. You just got to keep on going and learning and being persistent in it. I think that's absolutely incredible. And I know from my own experience that that was definitely the case. The more my mum continued to try and engage with me, eventually, the more I did. So yeah, I can imagine that's definitely it. And I am quite curious as to have you, and this actually isn't part of the set of questions that I sent you, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts. Have you learned anything from communicating with your children? Actually, oh, I shouldn't have done it this way, or they work in this type of way, so maybe this is what's going to really serve them. Or what would you say?
Yeah, quite a few things. I think the main thing is that they don't love, but I think they enjoy learning more than I give them credit for.
Okay.
I think the education system is different to what it was when I was at school. And I think the way some topics and books is presented is different and more fun. For starters, they watch far more videos. They have far more sweets
Yeah.
and their canteen is far better. So I think they're already on to something better than what I had. But generally, I feel like what they have access to is a lot more fun because it's online, it's interactive, it's more. There's more pictures. It's more visual, and I think a lot of us probably don't realize. I'm making a generalization there, but for me personally, I've realized that they learn visually, and I think that's one of the things that we've learnt with my oldest is that she's a visual. She loves to see and not just hear. So I think the education system that really works for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to yeah.
You know, that's actually something that we're trying to promote as well. Just understanding the way that your child learns, how they take in information, does make a difference. You may, as a parent, feel as though, you know, if I talk to them, then they will listen and do. But sometimes, I know for myself, it took me a while to fully grasp what you're talking about if it's just an auditory way of communication. But if there's ways in which you can make things visual or written down, that for me supported me quite a lot when I was growing up. And then also, if your child knows how you best take in information, all of a sudden there stops being this barrier. I'm assuming that, you know, students are transitioning from that place of being a child to being an adult. And there is elements in which they need to know you as much as you are kind of working them out as well. Yeah, it is really important. Now, I guess, Karen, are there things that you do in your house that kind of influence good communication?
Yeah, I've got a very long list.
I love it. Okay, nice.
I think because it changes. I think the way you learn, some things work, some things don't work. And I think through process of elimination, you realize you begin to pick up what's going to work for one child actually probably doesn't work for the other one. And on this kind of a day, it's going to really work. But on this kind of day, it really doesn't work. So I think to have tools up your sleeve of ways of communication has helped me work out, okay, is today a verbal communication day? Is today something I just need to write a little note? Is it a text day? Is it a voice memo day? So it's kind of having a bunch of ways of communicating which you can draw on. And sometimes it's, I need to pick up the phone to a friend. Listen, I just need to understand this part. Do you have any top tips? So it's, you know, even drawing on friends and other parents of teenagers, that has helped me a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being engaged with your child is really important, and communicating and finding different ways to communicate, I think is great. Sometimes, you can make a big deal, right, out of something that probably they might see as a small thing, or you can make a small deal about something that seems as a big thing. And if you have all of these modes of communication, that sounds definitely amazing. It must have been such a learning curve for you of all the different ways in which you've got to talk to them.
Yeah, I think we always try and say that we like to talk, and it's good to talk. That's quite a strap line, isn't it? But I think if we try and prep the kids in that, I'd love to talk to you about this at some point when we've got some time. Could you just tell me about what the topics that you're enjoying in science, or what the words that you're struggling with, or I guess prepping them to know that a conversation is coming, whether it's today, tomorrow, or next week, or at some point. I think asking questions has really helped me understand them, because they need to know this is my first time being a parent of a teenager. That's helped, and I think that kind of levels the playing field. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a friend, I'm someone there alongside them, and we're doing this together, and we're working together to get the best out of it, and then to have fun along the way. I think if it's always the intense conversation about, okay, what are your grades, what are you doing next, what's your studying, what's your timetable, what's this, it kind of defeats the object. They immediately will just back off and just say, no, I'm not interested, you're being my teacher. But I think to always, well, not always, but try and keep it light-hearted and short and sweet. But they know that you are someone to, there's a conversation happening, and keeping it live and helping them understand that it is always live, and it's not something that is going to be shut down and it's going to end in you're being told off, or you're not reaching the target, or that's not it at all. It's just, let's have a conversation, because I'm going to stuff up, you're going to stuff up, actually I'm going to do really well, and you're going to do really well. So let's do this together.
Wow, that's amazing. And how do you kind of make sure that you're just being involved in their education generally? Because what we found anyway, statistically, is that the more that this team that we're talking about, families, the more that this team is part of the child's education, the higher the likelihood of them actually reaching that potential, the goal that they're going for. How's it been like for you?
Yeah, I think that's probably the challenge, because your subject knowledge is never going to be as much as theirs. Yeah. So, and theirs is, they've got teachers teaching them more and more, and so we're always on the catch up. And there comes a limit to my subject knowledge, at which point I just need to say, man, you need to be teaching me, because I'm all out. I don't know my Shakespeare quotes anymore. I don't know my equations. I just don't know. So, but what I can do is I can come alongside, and I can help you with equipment, with time, with structure, with bringing a timetable, giving you access to whether it's a desk or a space, or okay, so you've got half an hour study time, right? I can bring the crisps. Okay, you've got an hour's study time. Okay, well, I'm going to get a friend. I'll organize your friend to come over, and then you guys can go out afterwards. So it's kind of using what I know I'm good at, allowing them the opportunity to do what they need to do, but giving them some reward at the end of it, something to know that they can work hard for a short time, and then there's a fun thing at the end. So it is, you're both doing it, you're both learning, I guess, achieving the goal together, but it looks really differently.
Wow. Yeah, because your role, you've already said it, right? You're not the teacher. So you shouldn't assume yourself to be the person that has all the knowledge. That's not your role. But your role is to not even facilitate, but to make the study experience as engaging as possible, right? So that they can actually get stuck in with their work, so that they can enjoy it, they can go out with their friends later, or whatever. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, fair. What would you say 3 takeaways? If people are listening, what are 3 things that they should really take away from this conversation?
First of all, just breathe. It can be really intense. And when your children come home, when your young person comes home from school, they have been told by that teacher, work, study, and it's very grades related. When they come home, it's a safe space. They need to regroup. They need to have something to eat, have some time out. And I know there's lots of talk about being able to rest. So I think breathing, resting, knowing that comes in order to refuel yourself, ready to go again to do the work, which everyone has to do. That's just life. We're made to work. Let's study, let's do it. So I think just breathing and knowing that there's a process, and just be steady in the process, and know that it's a journey that you're on together, would be one massive take home point. And then to make it fun, because it doesn't have to be always serious. There's always fun to be had. There's always good food to be had. There's always jokes to be had. There's always, quizzes to be had where you can just realize you don't actually know that much, but then, you can learn it. And there is fun to be had in that too.
Yeah, great. I think that's awesome. And I think if you're a student as well that's listening, I'd probably say, firstly, just take it a little bit easy on your parents as they're trying.
Well, yeah, that too.
Don't put too much on them. But on the other side, utilize your parents. Don't push them out of them wanting to be part of your educational life or just your life in general. Bring them in, and as Karen said, sometimes it may not be beneficial for you to have a really long conversation with your parents. Sometimes a cheeky little 10 minutes here and there, just say this is what I'm thinking or feeling or what I want to do, will go a long way with them, and you have no idea the impacts that it has with you as well. The more you are in team, the higher the chances of you going to where you want to get to. So that's on a selfish level, but then also on a wholesome level, being part of your family has such great ramifications in the future. The closeness that you have with your family as an adult is just so great compared to people not being as close with their family. So if your family unit is there, then engage them as much as you can, because it is really beneficial, 100%. Karen, I love this conversation. This was a lot of fun. It was good kind of hearing from you, your wisdom and your experience as well. And I'd love to have you on again at a certain point. But for now, we will stop there. And thank you guys so much for listening. And I'm sure we'll be able to see you at another time. Have a good time. See you later.